Hi, Saul Muerte here, and welcome back to Occult Echoes, where we trace the shadows of classic occult literature into the novels of today. In our recent dive into Dennis Wheatley's To the Devil a Daughter, we explored a world where spiritual warfare is real, where organized occult forces operate beneath the surface of respectable society, and where faith, morality, and belief determine who survives and who falls prey. Wheatley wrote in a post-war Britain still haunted by hidden corruption, offering readers a vision of evil that was meticulous, deliberate, and terribly plausible. Today I want to explore a modern echo of that world, Jason Arnopp's The Last Days of Jack Sparks, a novel that transposes the anxieties that Wheatley explored into the media-saturated, celebrity-obsessed landscape of the 21st century. Wheatley's story is steeped in moral conviction. His protagonists often stumble because they have dismissed the spiritual realities around them. Evil is methodical, hierarchical, and almost bureaucratic in its organization. Cults and conspiracies follow rules, and the danger is magnified because characters fail to respect these rules. In Jack Sparks, Arnopp updates that principle for a society that has grown skeptical, even arrogant, about the supernatural. His protagonist, Jack Sparks, is a celebrity journalist, brash, witty, and convinced he can debunk anything. He approaches the occult not with fear, but with amusement and self-assured rationalism. Of course, as the story unfolds, that arrogance becomes his undoing. Just as Wheatley's rational characters are blindsided by forces they refuse to acknowledge, Jack Sparks finds himself entangled in an escalating, inescapable pattern of horror. The modern demon doesn't always need ritual. It feeds on attention, ego, and the fragments of perception we project onto the world. In a sense, the supernatural adapts to its environment. Where Wheatley's evil thrives in shadows and secrecy, Arnopp's thrives in plain sight, in public and through the lens of media's obsession. Both novels interrogate the same fundamental question: what happens when disbelief itself becomes a vulnerability? Wheatley's readers confront characters who fail to recognize the presence of occult forces. Arnopp's readers witness Jack, a man who sees the world through the lens of proof, documentation, and audience validation, utterly unprepared for forces beyond his control. In both cases, the story turns on psychological tension as much as supernatural action. Another key link between these works is how they explore the consequence of curiosity and ambition. Wheatley's heroines and heroes are drawn into occult plots because of circumstance, proximity, or moral responsibility. Arnopp's Jack is drawn by professional curiosity and personal pride, and the consequences are devastating. Both authors suggest that meddling with the occult, whether knowingly or naively, it is a risk that demands serious attention. The narrative styles are of course different. Wheatley relies on detailed exposition and methodical pacing to build dread, immersing readers into a ritual, doctrine, and moral state. Arnopp, in contrast, uses fast, sharp, modern prose with unreliable narration, mixed media, and social commentary. Yet the effect is similar. The reader experiences a creeping sense of unease, a growing unawareness that the protagonist's assumptions are dangerously incomplete. In both cases, the horror is much about the mind of perception as it is about external forces. Finally, these novels remind us that the occult evolves with culture. Wheatley's work reflects mid-century anxieties about hidden conspiracies and spiritual decay. Arnopp's speaks to contemporary fears, the perils of media spectacle, narcissism, and living in a world where everything must be documented, shared, or verified. Yet, at their core, both stories are about the same thing: the fragile boundary between belief and disbelief, and the consequences when that boundary is crossed. So if you love the meticulous, morally charged dread of To the Devil a Daughter, consider reading The Last Days of Jack Sparks. Together, these novels form a fascinating dialogue across time, demonstrating that while the rituals, technology, and cultural anxieties may change, the psychology of fear, obsession, and the unseen remains remarkably consistent. Thanks for joining me on this journey through the echoes of occult fiction. I'm your host, Saul Muerte. Keep your eyes open, your books close, and remember that sometimes the greatest terror comes not from what is out there, but from what we refuse to believe.